Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus. Today we are going to be playing a team that we haven't really seen too much on the channel. And we are playing against Mr. D of all people, so we are playing what I call the last stand team. So it's a really solid stress team with a lot of defensive characters and the repulse of all things, so it's going to be pretty fun to see what actually happens here. So I'm quite scared of this Houndmaster, this Crimson Hook training whistle. So I definitely want to prevent that from happening. And I'm gonna start off with an actual debuff on the Antiquarian, which fails. So you do have this Vendetta to apply minus 20 dodge debuffs, but they fail more often than not, surprisingly, and you just have to deal with it. So it's probably going to be a command buff immediately. Actually, a bolster buff. That means that the Houndmaster isn't going to hit the broadside of a barn with the Houndsary. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. I would have guessed command into Houndsary, but oh well, let's explain the team. So we have a full dodge Houndmaster in the backline, which is pretty fun. And we have a Man-at-Arms here, which is very tanky, using the Protector's Kite and the Numbing Ensigns. And also his plan is going to be to use Bolster if you're playing against a stress team, and then to just start spamming commands and also go for guards. So you are going to see that I do have Rampart here, and the reason behind Rampart is actually a pretty funny one. So the reason behind actually going for Rampart is that sometimes you have to go Duelist Advance immediately, and then there are abilities that hit your characters in positions 3 and 4. And I'm not talking about abilities like Smokescreen, which are annoying but aren't the end of the world. I'm talking about abilities like Rain of Sorrows, Sealing Spaghettis, you know, the Occultist, Abyssal Artillery. Those are the kind of abilities that are really rough to deal with, but that you do have to deal with. So just going Duelist Advance immediately into a Rampart means that you can actually stay in the position where you want to stay, and actually just start spamming that repulse. So it is pretty funny to do that. And why wouldn't you just start in position 4? Well, in some matchups you won't actually need a repulse, you just want to spam Grape Shot immediately. That's not going to be one of these matchups. We definitely want a repulse to prevent Houndsary, because the Houndsary spam here is going to be pretty darn great, or like pretty darn prominent, I'm gonna have to say. I mean, if you see a Houndmaster with Crimson Hook training whistle and the Man-at-Arms to spam command buffs, like, you already know you're gonna have to deal with that somehow. You already know. I think that right now my way of dealing with that is gonna be through aggression, and through aggression means command buffs and just taking it from there. So we're gonna get some accuracy out of it, and we're gonna go for some insane plays. So now we are going to get to the other characters like Man-at-Arms, Protector, Kite, Numbing Instance. This just means that he has a lot of HP, he has decent amount of protection. If you guard, he has 45. And Numbing Instance means that you can resist stuns and you can also take less stress, so that's good. Doggy has both dodge trinkets, so he's going to be a very dodgy boy, especially if you keep spamming that guard dog, which I won't spam it right now. I'm going to go Houndsary, but before I go Houndsary, I'm going to go for a punish first. Flagellant is going to have the Gauntlet Vamp Solution at the Snuff, and actually the Reclaim, because this team wants to be a little bit slower than most teams. Most stress teams want to be fast, and the Flagellant is just going to take like Crimson Hook, you're going to take Rain of Stars, you're going to go crazy on the backline, and you're going to have like some other character delegated for healing, or you're not going to care too much about healing. But on this team, once that you actually want to take things a little bit slow, that you actually want to use a riposte, you want to spend some time setting up, what's going to happen is you definitely do want to have some sort of healer to heal the other characters, and the Flagellant is a really good option for that. So actually Houndsary into the riposte, despite me having all these damage buffs, quite surprising, I'm gonna have to say. And getting to the team that Mr. D is actually playing here. So he said in a message right at the start, I guessed right, which makes me believe that he guessed that I was going to play this team, because I told him I was going to play a team that I don't usually play, and I haven't played in a while, so he just guessed it was this one, and in response to that he brought something that's going to be tough to deal with. So the problem with this team is that it's a little slow on the stress output. I mean, it is kind of a slow team. It has characters, like 3 characters that are basically meant to keep this Highman alive and happy and just keep him doing a lot of damage, basically. So it is understandable that it's a little bit of a slow team, but it can do well. Like, these Hound series can do a lot of damage. They can do a lot of stress too, like with all the crit chance from the Man-at-Arm spamming command. And the Grape Shot is going to allow you to do a lot of stress, especially when you have Grim Bandana. But if you're playing against something like a Musketeer with that stress heal, and Men-at-Arms with Bellow and characters with, you know, minus stress taken, being guarded, it means that you're not gonna have the greatest of times. It definitely means that. And the regen from the Antiquarian also means that a small amount of what do you call it? A small amount of, oh, I forgot the name. I had like a whiteout right now. What is it called? Collateral damage, right? The collateral damage that we're applying isn't going to be quite as effective because of the rejuvenation spam. So we aren't going to have the greatest of times, but we're also, I think we're still going to have a good time here, because I think that despite the defensive actions that Mr. D has here, there actually isn't a riposte, and the damage output isn't that great. I mean, you picked a Houndmaster to counter a team that has a Harman. That's not exactly the greatest counter you could go for. Maybe he was being a bit caring and making sure that I wouldn't have just a breakdown outside of the Butcher's Circus or something like that. So thank you for that, I suppose. I don't think I want to go into position 1, so I'm actually going to drop a Rampart here. That's going to put the Men-at-Arms in position 2 if it works, and of course it doesn't. Rampart is a joke of an ability. It is very undervalued for a very specific reasons, because it's just garbage. If it's stunned, it would be insane. If it had more accuracy, it would also be insane, because then it can be used against Jesters. Like, that's basically its main use, is that there's a Jester in position 2, you just go Rampart. And instead of doing that, why don't you go Bell on everyone, like reduce the Jester's damage, or go guard on whoever the Jester wants finale. Like, it's just such a weird move. It doesn't fit with, it's just disruption, but disruption that doesn't give you any other kind of value. Like, it doesn't give you anything at all, basically. You're gonna look at other kinds of disruption that, like, do knockbacks. Like, you have Abomination, which transforms, applies a metric load of horror on the enemy team, and then goes for a slam, which does like 10 times the damage of Rampart and moves 2 positions back. Like, just look at the difference. And then you have other kinds of disruption abilities, like the pull with the occultists that move characters to 2 positions and also apply a metric load of horror. Then you have Come Hither, which applies a mark too. It's just Rampart is undervalued for a very specific reason, and the Daze only has 100% base chance, and Dazes aren't even near as effective as stuns are. And of course, it's a Daze on a stress team. It's a lot less impactful, but you know what's impactful? A triple crit. A triple crit definitely helps here. It's gonna allow us to do more damage. I think we're actually gonna have to win this through collateral damage, believe it or not. Collateral damage is gonna have to be the way. Actually, the Houndmaster is guarding now. Can you believe that? I'm definitely gonna go for a punish. We're critting like crazy right now because of the unreal amount of command buffs that we've actually gone for. I do actually drop the guard here, but it's not too big of a concern. I can just apply it again, and then the Highwayman can make use of the minus stress taken and minus debuffs received, and also the plus 50% damage, so I am not overly concerned about that. I could also just keep spamming Counter, but I think going for a guard right now is going to be more effective. You know, just keep these characters, these 3 characters, like very chunky, and keep the Highman protected with the guard dog. I think that's going to be the best play right now. You can't really go Hounseri anymore, because my boss is definitely going to do enough to kill you. I mean, I have plus 60 accuracy right now, plus 60 accuracy for a repulse with 85 base, so I have 145 accuracy on my repulse. That means you can't dodge even if you wanted to. That's finale numbers of accuracy right there. Yeah, it's crazy. It is brutal, isn't it? I am gonna drop that Man-at-Arms to Death Store right now, and hopefully get a crit to get even more damage for it. So let's see, we have 2 crit buffs right now. Yeah, we should be able to drop him to the store. Oh, the damage is brutal. The doggy is gonna go out of that star once he actually clicks, so he's not dying immediately. But after that, we're just gonna apply another punish, and we're gonna be chilling. For that, we're gonna apply another command, so we actually have 2 accuracy buffs, which is great. I think Mr. D couldn't have picked the worst team, honestly, because this team, the problem with sustained teams is that you have to be outputting something at the same time as you're sustaining. Because even slow teams do have a solid output of stress and oh my god, I forgot it again, and collateral damage. Like, they do have a solid amount of it. How did you heal for so much, actually? How are you back at 18 HP? Was it because of the healing received from the Musketeer heal? I suppose. That is really annoying, actually. Well, we'll just have to deal with it being a thing. I'm gonna drop another command. How many buffs is the Harman at? Only 1, actually. I used up all the command buffs already. Jeez, well, I just have to keep spamming it, I suppose. Going for that 1 Rampart just used up all my command buffs, I guess. Right now, the Man-at-Arms is still guarded. The doggy decided to go for another guard dog just to get some dodge out of it. I don't think it's gonna help you. Like, I'm spamming command buffs. Dodge is not the way to actually beat this team. They already have 2 Death Star recovery debuffs, and we might actually get an affliction really soon. So we're gonna get a bleed out of that. That's countering the regen, just barely, but it is countering the regen. And we are gonna go command buff like immediately, absolutely immediately. You should be very able to resist this debuff, because we do have that 80% debuff rest. Of course, when you do guard with the dog, you reduce stress taken by 70%, and you increase debuff resistance by 50%. So this is basically why the guard doggy can be very, very impactful. Like, those things are crazy. They're definitely crazy. I'm actually gonna have to move forward here with Duelist Advance again. Oh, do we want to, though, or do we just want to keep spamming Grape Shot? I think we want to keep spamming Grape Shot, believe it or not. Yeah, like Duelist Advance is great, but this doggy isn't in any position to go Houndsary anymore, and I'm not sure if this Antiquarian wants to drop that Rejuvenating Vapors, because once you actually drop the Rejuvenating Vapors, your amazing regen is gonna quickly dissipate, and you'll see that you don't want that to happen. You definitely don't want that to happen. So I have 2 command buffs right now. Let's go for it. 71% hit chance, no crits, sadly. If we had Crimson Hook, the crits would be much more likely, but yeah, I'm not gonna complain about it. So the stress heal is nice with the Musketeer. It's definitely really nice, but you need to have some sort of way of preventing me from just literally doing whatever I want, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing whatever I want, and you just can't let that happen. I have 2 accuracy buffs and 2 crit buffs right now. How many guards do I have left? A lot. We get a crit from that. We do get a crit, but on the wrong character. Did we just fail 3 bleeds? How's that even possible? Houndsary has a 110% base bleed chance. Well, I guess we failed like a 70, 65 plus 10, we failed like a 75, we failed another 75, we failed a 55, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna comment on it. And now we get to go Grape Shot. Wow, even with 2 command buffs, and the Vendetta, and the Eli Talisman, we might miss. That's not a miss, that's the thumbnail. That is not a miss, that's the thumbnail. You don't even regen for enough with the doggy right now, but you do go Fearful, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you go Fearful? And right now, there isn't a Repulse anymore to threaten you, but there is a Grape Shot. The Grape Shot right now just got an extra 10 accuracy from the crit, so I would be very concerned if I were this doggy. If you go for a heal, I'm still gonna Grape Shot, and I'm still gonna hurt the hell out of you. Also, you don't have any accuracy at all right now, because you haven't been using command buffs. Well, you have been using that ranging shot, so it is giving you accuracy, but I don't see ranging shot as too much of an accuracy ability. I see it as a pseudo accuracy buff. It only gives you 10, and 10 seriously isn't enough to deal with a lot of dodge. Like, it helps, but it isn't enough. Accuracy buffs are 20 accuracy, not 10. 10 doesn't really count as an accuracy buff for me. Also, the patch shop does heal Blight, but it does not heal Bleed, so I understand why it's being so tough to deal with here. I'm not sure if I want to go for another command buff immediately, because, I mean, I have plus 40 accuracy. I could hit, I could miss. I think I know I go for another command buff, right? I mean, what else am I gonna do? What else am I gonna do, right? Just drop those dang command buffs, ship, get another triple crit or something. I would love to see a quadra crit, like the fabled quadra crit of the Houndmaster. You don't see it very often, especially not running Crimson Hook. Like, if I had this setup right now, that my opponent has, and if I had all the command buffs that I'm setting up, I could very well actually do enough here. I could very well get all those crits, because this is plus 11% crit chance. I would have 30 on everyone. Can you imagine having a 30? Yeah, as you know, 2 command buffs equals crits, 3 command buffs equals mega crits. Giga crits, yeah, that's what it equals to. Just look at that, 60 accuracy, 12% crit chance. I love command. It's just really fun to play with. And I'm so glad that Mr. D picked like a wet noodle team here that just doesn't really hurt my characters all that much while I keep hurting theirs. I just keep critting like crazy. You just let me run rampant here, which is really fun. Normally this team can go for a lot of defense too, but yeah, there's gonna be a Houndsary, does hit everyone, doesn't get a single crit out of it, but yeah, the Houndsary is definitely gonna start hurting, of course. However, you know what's also gonna start hurting? Yes, you do. Grape Shot Blast, there we go. We do a lot less damage than I was hoping for. I was hoping for way more than that, considering I had 3 command buffs on there. But oh well, the doggy is almost dead, and the Grape Shot Blasts are gonna keep coming, the Houndsaries are gonna keep coming. I might drop the guard here, I'm not sure. Oh, he's actually gonna go Houndsary, that's so greedy. That is so greedy, I might just get a death blow right now. I have 3 command buffs, I only have 1 Battle debuff on me. I would have to get unbelievably unlucky to roll for 0 right now. I don't roll for 0, but I don't roll for a crit either. Come on, I have 3 command buffs. I have to roll for crits there. I can't believe I didn't even roll for a crit. That's so sad. We are going to get the Man Arms down to 0 though, and then we're going to go for a punish on him. Once we do actually take him out, it's going to be pretty darn fun. It's going to be another rejuvenating vapors, but you know what we say to the rejuve. We say punish. No crits out of it, sadly, but we do get to bleed, and the Man at Arms isn't afflicted yet, but he's gonna be soon. I might actually be looking at the Rampart here to just get a death blow. It's gonna be a 25% chance, so hopefully that does succeed. And if it doesn't, I might go Duelist Advance next round. Or I might not. I don't know, I'm not sure. I think Grape Shot could definitely get a death blow here. Yeah, it's gonna be Ranging Shot. Do I actually go Rampart for the death blow? You know what? How many battle debuffs do I have? 1. Should do enough damage, right? Yes, that's enough damage. Rampart kill. When have you ever seen a Rampart kill? Only playing the Last Stand team and only playing against Mr. D, I guess. So it's gonna be another Houndsary. Like, this is a full-on counter pick, but it just backfired terribly. Yeah, it just backfired terribly, and I love seeing it. I still have plus 40 accuracy, so Duelist Advance should be essentially confirmed. We're gonna prevent Festering Vapors from coming through, and obviously once the doggy is dead, like, the Musketeer can't do anything with Bugshot, and Antiquarian still has to deal with this big Astropulse. And let's keep in mind that I still have a Flageolt in position 1, and yeah, we all know what Flageolt is like. 2 Redeems, 3 Exsanguinates, gone to the Absolution. You're not gonna deal with him any time of the week. So we're gonna use another command buff right now, so we have enough accuracy, and I'm most likely gonna go for a punish on the doggy. I will be close to death's door. I do have plus a lot of damage right now and a lot of crit from being below 40% HP. So my crit chance right now with punish is gonna be absolutely wonderful. Hopefully it works out in our advantage. It's just gonna be more regens. Like, this is really fun to play when your opponent just lays down and just lets you hit them. I think that sounded a little bit like I was a big bully, so that didn't sound too good, but yeah, it's what I am being right now. I am being a big bully to Mr. D, I am gonna admit it. So I almost dropped to this door here, not quite. Give me a crit. Yes, that's a crit, alright. It's almost enough stress. If I had Crimson Hook, it would have been even closer to almost enough stress. But now I can go for a Houndsary, that's gonna be a dead doggy, and I don't think Mr. D can do anything about this. So quite a stellar performance by the Last Stand team, even against a lot of this stress ceiling. Like, the matches don't usually go like this. If you go against a damage team, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have to focus someone down, and they're gonna have a whoa, crit 25, Jesus. They're gonna have to focus someone down, and the thing is, Man at Arms is really tanky with 50 prot and stun resistance. I mean, not 50 prot, but 50 HP and potentially a lot of prot if you do decide to go Defender. Fireman is likely going to be guarded, believe it or not, despite being the riposte character. I know it doesn't make sense for a lot of you. A lot of you are just thinking, what? You're going to guard the riposte character, but he's there to riposte. No, that's true, but riposte doesn't matter very much when you're marked and one-shotted, does it? Yeah, it really doesn't. That's why you don't use riposte against damage teams. You just go Vendetta and you go Grape Shot immediately, so you start doing stress. That's why I put him in position 3. It's because this team usually has a really good time against... Oh, he's gonna go Buckshot. Oh, another crit 25. Oh, it's so nasty. This team usually has a really good time against, what do you call it? It usually has a really good time against stress teams because, you know, you have Riposte, you have Dodge Doggy applying a character to be basically immune to stress, you have a character basically immune to stress, and you have a character that takes half stress. So you can see why this team is almost stress immune. You can definitely see that. But in terms of damage, like they're gonna find it really difficult focused on the doggy because we're gonna have like 70 dodge, and they're gonna find it. Oh my god, the damage is! I just keep getting interrupted by how beautiful these Iron Man numbers are looking. Now that we are actually getting to the juicy backline of Mr. D's team. So yeah, Flagellant like really difficult to stun, really difficult to kill. You can't focus the Man-at-Arms down too well. Tower Man's gonna be guarded. So like, what do you focus on? You're gonna have to go for some subpar character, some subpar play, and while you're doing that, I buff up with the Harman really quickly, and then I just start Grape Shotting for a lot, and hopefully I do get a few punishes in, and even if you do get some damage into my characters playing a damage team, I will have Flagellant to reclaim, I will have 2 guard characters, so it's really difficult to just take this team down even if you're playing damage. And once again, if you're playing stress, you're also going to find it really difficult to take this team down because, you know, I just explained, all these characters do pretty darn well against stress. So we're gonna go for the second Rampart death blow. We actually take it. Oh, what a sick joke. The one time I do use Rampart, it gets 2 death blows out of the potential 4. That's just brutal. That really is brutal. And now it's only the Musketeer. I mean, she tried. She definitely tried. Ranging shot, great ability, but it's really not enough to win you a matchup, I'm gonna have to say. And now we're gonna go for the Rampart death blow. Rampart number 3, Electric Boogaloo. That's usually for number 2, not number 3. But yeah, that's the 3rd Rampart death blow, and that's gonna be a flawless victory for the last 10 teams. So it's definitely a tough team to deal with, because you have to deal with a lot of things. You have to deal with a lot of stun resistance, you have to deal with a lot of guards, you have to deal with a lot of stress, you have to deal with riposte, you have to deal with regen, you have to deal with dodge. Like, there's just a lot that you have to deal with, and also, you know, potentially a lot of stress and potentially a lot of collateral damage, because, you know, Flagellant Punish, Exsanguinate, Houndmaster with the occasional Houndsary with the command buffs. Like, sure, the Houndmaster doesn't have Crimson Hook, sure, the Houndmaster doesn't have like Carnival Mask or Tank Whistle or a more crit chance of any sorts, but he does still have command buffs to go along with just a Monkey Spawn. That's still capable of doing a lot. And with all the collateral damage, like, this team is tough to deal with, and it is fun to play, because when the High Man gets those big numbers, like crit 21, crit 25, oh, it's amazing. So definitely do give it a try. I hope you enjoyed the match, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.